What's going on YouTube? In this video, I'm going to be showing you a Tempest build for challenge rifts that I use to push as high as possible. And with this build, you'll be invincible to basically everything, as you'll keep all the monsters permanently CC'd by using Vortex and Storm Fury. And the reason I use both of these instead of just Vortex is because of the Shoulder Essence, which will automatically bunch up all of the monsters for you and make it very hard for any of them to escape the eternal prison of knockups that you're about to unleash. So getting into the build, there are a few things to consider before we even mention the essences. The first thing is, in challenge rifts or C rifts, your combat rating is the biggest thing. So equip anything that's high CR, don't worry if the pieces don't have fortitude or if the magic attributes aren't the best, as those things aren't as important here. We're going for completion, not maximum damage output. So as you can see in my current build, I don't even have full matching set pieces. And that's just more evidence that CR is what matters here. The only thing that you need is 2 pieces of Vithus for the beneficial effect duration, and everything else is kind of just nice to have. So for this build, the best sets to use if you are able to have matching sets would be, of course, Vithus, Grace of the Flagellant, Banquet of Eyes, Feasting Barons pack, the new Skybreakers Bolt set, or even Windlofts would be nice here. Because as you'll see, we won't be taking any damage for the most part, so you can actually utilize this set effect, believe it or not. But again, just wear whatever your highest CR pieces are and call it a day. Now onto the legendary essences. For the helm, we're using Unyielding Vision. Our chest is Overflow, which is half of the secret sauce. The other half is the shoulder essence, Storms Without Number, which will automatically gather the enemies up for us. For the pants, you can choose either Spine-Tooth Greaves or Howling Anchor, just depending on if you have 4 pieces of Vithus or not. I don't have 4 pieces of Vithus equipped here, so I need the extra attack speed, which is why I'm using Spine-Tooth Greaves. Otherwise, use Howling Anchor. And for the main hands, we're using Skin Parter and Shriekworth, and our offhands are Hurricane Hitch and Glory to Kasathra. And for your Reforges, I have a guide on what's best, which I'll link below, but the magic attributes I'll explain here. So the main thing is to have beneficial effect duration on your chest, your legs, your boots, and your belt, as well as having skill cooldown reduction on your gloves, your rings, and your necklace. And then after that, having damage to enemies under loss of control would be the best attribute to try and put on your weapons. I also have a video on those, which I'll link down below as well. The main thing we want is to have 100% uptime on all of our abilities so that we can keep these enemies permanently knocked up and CC'd to keep ourselves virtually invincible. Everything else beyond that will just make your life a little bit easier by allowing you to kill things a little bit faster. For the Paragon, it's best if you use Slinger, specifically these nodes: Bloodthirst, Fury, Superiority, Unseen Dynamism, and Uncanny. But if you're getting stuck on the monsters or the walls that they create often, then you can try out using Harbinger with these nodes that I have active here. Also, you can consider using Slayer if you don't have high crit hit damage to begin with from having, lower armor penetration. Or also, if your crit hit chance is pretty low and you don't have a Roiling or Mothers, then you may find these nodes to work a little bit better. But I do recommend using Slayer over the others. And the legendary skill we're using is Overloaded. The other skills that provide shields won't be worth using, as you'll see for the most part. If you get hit once in these C rifts, you're already dead, so no point in really having a shield. A few other considerations are having a pet with Savior, as this can save you a couple times throughout the C rift, which won't save you too much time because the first few deaths don't cost that much, but it is nice to have, but by no means necessary. And of course, having the skills that we're using on your Charm, Rolling Surf, Storm Fury, Crosswinds, Vortex are very nice, because that'll just help you do a little bit more damage and get this done a little bit quicker. So now once you have the build set up, let's get into the Rift. I've in the past been able to complete levels that are over 700 CR above me, but the higher you go, it takes more resetting and getting good RNG with what boss you find, maybe finding a Frenzy Shrine also at the end. But still, you'll see here, I'm going to complete a C rift that's a little bit over 600 CR above me, 611 to be exact. The more C rifts you do, you'll start to understand how the monsters behave and what to avoid. As a rule of thumb, I always avoid the little stupid dart monkeys, not only because they remind me of Teemo, but their projectiles are the fastest and thus the hardest to deal with. If you find monsters that you don't like, then just leave and reset. The other thing to consider here is what boss you find at the end, but we'll get to that later on in the video. So as you'll see in my runs, the main goal is to get elite monsters and to bunch up as many as possible. So in this one, I see 2 elite groups a little bit away from each other, so I try to get them to walk towards each other so that I can be dealing damage to all of them at the same time, which this will end up saving you a lot of time by the end. And the main strategy for this is to make big circles around the enemies, and then Storm Fury will bunch them up for you, Vortex will knock them up, and this will just keep happening in perpetuity. So after you make a few circles, all of the mobs will be in one fat group, and it'll be almost impossible to take damage. But keep in mind that the special abilities from elite monsters can still go off, so look out for these rotating purple lasers, the ice storms that they'll throw out, the green snakes that'll spawn and shoot poison at you, and also the red lasers that they'll shoot. If it wasn't for these, then you really could just stand completely still once they're bunched up. Another way you can potentially take damage is from some mages or ranged monsters that get stuck away from the pack and are just out of range. So you can either keep circling and try to scoop them up as well, or just let them be and focus on dodging the projectiles. So once you fill up the bar on the left side of your screen, now you just have to hope that you don't get the Sand Shaper. And well, I got him. So he is, in my opinion, the worst boss to go up against, as his attacks are very, very hard to dodge and even hard to see sometimes. But if you aren't pushing, 600 CR above yourself, then maybe you can beat him. In order to have the best chance to not take damage, you need to make really big arcs with your movement to dodge his tornado attacks, and then move away when he does his ground attacks. If you're quick enough, then you can dodge these. And his other attack where he sends out these bolts, you can try to dodge them, but the terrain will almost always get in the way. So try it out, but I recommend just resetting if you see him. And once you're able to get a good boss with dodgeable attacks, then it's basically done. The boss fight will take you a good while, but it's just a matter of don't get hit, and then you'll end up killing the boss. Dying, 3 or 4 times won't set you back that much, and if you do die, then make sure you wait until your abilities are off cooldown to resurrect. Especially if you die while you're still farming the elite monsters. Because if you don't, then you'll basically get caught with your pants down and end up dying once again and just wasting more time. So once you see each boss once or twice, you'll have a good idea of its attack cycle, and then you just play around it. And if you're fighting a boss that has a very annoying attack that covers the whole screen, like the bats from the Sanguine Queen, and you die from that attack, just wait until it's over to respawn. The boss won't ever regenerate its health, so you can wait out these attacks in the respawn screen, then jump right back in. Similarly, you can also just run far away and wait out the attacks because the boss won't regenerate. And this might be the best thing to do when you're faced with attacks like this. If you would like to see a guide on how to deal with most of these bosses, then let me know in the comments. I'll try to get a video on that. But that's basically it. And if you made it this far into the video, you're a legend. So please like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Consider joining the channel for as little as 99 cents. And in addition to the extra content you'll get, I'll also feature your name at the end of every video. So a special thanks goes out to my current channel member Ajax at the Honcho tier. Peace.